Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Game day.
Jonathan Voico.
What's the game?
For John.
Craven Day, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh!
It's Craven Day.
Woo.
And hey, update. Remember yesterday Craven was sitting at like a pathetic 12% of Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, let's see it.
It's gone up, baby.
Woo!
Yeah.
It's now at 16%.
Not even in the 20s, huh?
No, it doesn't need to be.
Who needs 20 when you got 16?
It's the trajectory.
Game day.
The trajectory is going up all the way. What is that? What's his name?
Fat Joe.
Fat Joe. All the way up.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
going. Pretty soon it'll cross 20, then 30, then 70, then
And then
80.
they'll lose a 5-point lead
in the fifth inning.
in the fifth inning.
Yeah,
And
thanks to the Fat Joe curse.
I'm telling
Baseball,
you though,
everybody.
heading up there, getting up there. I'm
know
gonna come out of Craven this afternoon, and I'm gonna do a out of the theater reaction and tell you guys about how everybody was wrong. That this movie is awesome, and I can't wait to see it. And I'm gonna tell you, you see when I come out of that, I'm gonna be telling you how good Craven is.
you know what? The reactions from yesterday that we did, there was a couple of surprising people that you were reading off that liked it. And that's why this like Rotten Tomato score is kind of like bugging me out. Like,
We're talking about 16%.
oh, yeah. No, I meant in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
Well, the ones we read were the 10 people that liked it out of 63. So,
I mean, what more can you ask for? Anyway, guys, here's how today's show's going to go. As we celebrate the release day of Craven, we're going to be talking about a bunch of predetermined topics that we've got lined up. And then in the second part of our show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, topic that we didn't cover, or opinion or question you'd like us to address, go ahead and fire down into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/John Campea/tip. And here's the good news. If you send in the question while we're live, we'll get around to it in the second part of the show. But maybe you're going to be listening to this show a little bit later in the day on our podcast feed, either on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. By the way, guys, go and subscribe to our podcast feed so the audio version will be there whenever you need it. Or if you're watching this video a little bit later in the day when we're not live, you can still use that tip link. Send in a question 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, guys. With that down, let's get things started here with this. More good news. For those of us who keep thinking, man, you know what? I don't pay enough for my streaming services. I know there's a lot of you get emails all the time. John, what do I do about this? I just don't feel like I'm paying enough. Good news. YouTube TV is here to save the day because they just jacked up their prices another $10.
Not 2, not 5.
3. Nope.
$10, baby.
$10. YouTube TV, which I use, by the way. I've been using YouTube TV as my cable replacement for years now. It's really good. I mean, look, it is what it is. It is a really good service. It is, but they've just jacked it up another $10. I got my email this morning. To now it's going to be $83 a month. The folks from The Verge remind us about this. YouTube TV last raised its subscription costs to $72 just in 2020, just last year. Before that, it was $64. They jacked it up to $72. In the days when the service only used to be $50, now it feels like a lifetime ago. Some of you got in early, which I did. It started at $35 a month. And that wasn't that long ago. Now, look, YouTube TV is great because you get all your traditional cable networks, right? You get your ABC, NBC, Fox, ESPN, over 100 channels. Mm-hmm. You get unlimited DVR, which is great. I take advantage of that. You get to go back and watch shows, even if they're not live. Like I can look up a series and just go back a few episodes and watch it. It's a very good service. It is. But not long ago, I was paying $35. Even a shorter time ago, I was paying $50. This morning, I was paying $72, and now I'm paying $82 or $83. And it's got me thinking, it might be time to get off this train. I mean, at least when like Max or Netflix or whatever, usually when they raise their prices, it's a couple of bucks. This is like, these guys are going in chunks. They're not rushing for 1 or 2 yards. They want deep balls.
Deep balls.
They want big yardage in chunks. We don't want to raise the price by $1.99. We want to raise it by $10. So now, even though the service didn't start all that long ago, it is now literally more than double what the price used to be. And that's getting untenable. Now, I mostly use, granted, I use YouTube TV mostly for sports. But now I got ESPN Plus. There's a lot of that there. Anyway, but it brings up the question about what are some other alternatives then? Like if you still want your cable broadcast television, access to that, but you don't want to have cable, if not YouTube TV, what are some other options? One of them is Sling. I used to use Sling. Actually, Sling's a nice little service. I think you can get that for like $40 a month. But granted, it doesn't have the selection that YouTube TV has. It doesn't have all the added services, but still, that's a more reasonable price.
And that's probably where the price increase probably stems from. The selection. Didn't they have to do new deals with NBC, Universal, and Disney?
And all that kind of stuff. Yes, that's 100% accurate. Is that one of the things YouTube is quoting, and they're not lying, is that they keep getting their carriage fees increased. So they got to, in response, they've got to increase them. They always pass along the cost to the customer. I mean, 100%. Most businesses do. I'm not going to blame them for that. But this is now no longer, it's getting to that point where it's no longer a value proposition. You know, I look at Netflix, and even though they keep raising their prices, I still look at what they charge, and I look at what I get for that price, and I still feel this is still a good value proposition. I look at how much Disney Plus charges, and then I look at what I get for that charge, and I feel like, okay, I still feel like this is a half decent, value proposition. I'm getting to the point now that I'm not finding YouTube TV to be a value proposition anymore.
It's getting close.
Now, so again, Sling TV, if it's got everything you want, that might be good. I gotta be honest with you, I'm kind of looking at this. I'm now looking, because Hulu has their live TV, right? It's pretty equivalent to YouTube TV. Not exact, but it's pretty equivalent. Well, look at this deal, because I like having no ads. I always get the no ad plans. But look at this deal here. In the second one, YouTube, the second one down, Hulu with no ads, plus live TV, that's your YouTube TV equivalent, plus Disney Plus with no ads, and ESPN Plus for $95. $95 is still a lot. But think about this. If I had YouTube TV at $83 a month, then I'd take that cost. Now I'm getting Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus for $12 with no ads. I mean, ESPN one's always going to have, but it's Hulu and Disney Plus with no ads. I'm starting to think, well, I mean, if I switch to this, I'm going to be saving money over what I'm doing now. And Hulu's fantastic. I love Hulu. They've probably been my favorite streamer for a very, very long time. And I'm still an individual. I still have an individual account on Hulu. And an individual account on ESPN Plus, and an individual plus account on Disney Plus.
You'll save a lot.
I got to get around to I'm going to save a lot of money. I just got to get around to canceling all of those and then getting the bundle deal.
Oh man,
and
you don't like bundles, huh?
I know. I'm like most people. I'm like the people who gets a membership to the gym and just never gets around to going. So I like the bundle. I just never get around to going through the hassle of canceling all those ones and then re-signing up for it. But I should, because it's going to save me money.
For me, I was almost like, this is going to be my move. But you know what? Hulu TV doesn't have Sportsnet LA, so I don't get Dodgers. And Sling does not either, but YouTube TV does. But it's still cheaper than DirecTV. Yep. So now I don't know what to do.
Which costs in itself, if you get the regional sports, it's $15 upcharge, I believe, on DirecTV.
Yeah.
Which could be a chunk if you're already paying for a service that's $100, then $15 on top. We're getting to a place where entertainment is becoming very expensive, and they're going to force us to go buy a bat and a ball and go outside.
That's the plan. By the way, Jonathan, you might want to bring this one up in the live chat. Spin John, who's of course Soul Video, he has the comment of the day.
Where? Let's see.
It's the one in green. He's got the comment of the day, and it's the only streaming service I need is the John Campea channel.
Oh,
there you go. Not biased at all. A purely unbiased objective opinion being
no
biased.
connection whatsoever.
Nothing. We
John
don't know him at
Campea
all.
Plus.
Don't know him at all.
John Campea Plus coming soon. Only $29.95.
Or you could just pee.
What?
Streaming? No.
Oh my
God. Sheesh. All right. And that will do it for the John Campea
That's
Show.
what Campea
So much
Plus
for
is
the
gonna be,
streaming
just me-
channel.
just me
Ray just blew it.
Stream peeing into a toilet.
All right.
$29.95. I gotta say, I like. I think I'm going to do this Hulu, Disney Plus, Live TV, and ESPN.
That's
deal.
your best bet.
It's again. Listen,
That's
it's
actually
gonna,
a great deal.
It is a great deal. It's still $95 a
Ooh,
month.
but I don't know what will Ann kill you though, because then no more Dodgers if you switch to it.
Is Dodgers on YouTube?
She doesn't.
She doesn't really watch
Remember,
it.
she buys season tickets.
That's true. She just goes and watches it for real.
She just goes and watches it at Dodger Stadium.
Like the
Yeah.
common folk.
A lot of people in LA go to Dodger.
know, I
But yeah,
know,
YouTube TV does have it.
and
yeah.
then she'll watch the playoffs on
Okay,
TV.
wait. Actually, if Jonathan brought that up, so you get the local sports with YouTube TV?
with YouTube TV, yeah.
Then okay, $85 still. Like, considering, let's say those extra sports channels are $15 on other services. If you look at it in that way, then that's actually a great deal. It's still
It was a great deal when it was $65 a month.
because right now I have the basic for DirecTV with no sports. It's $100, $99. So
yeah, but
in that
that's
way,
not a streaming thing. That's
All right.
DirecTV.
yeah, but this
I
is
want to
supposed to
get
be.
rid of. I want to get rid of cable and DirecTV and
but
Dish TV and
if
everything.
Ray's like the salesman at the,
No, but if
phone
this
store.
is-
But you know what you could do for $10
No.
more?
If this is the competition to DirecTV, like they're trying to get people away from that, it's still a good deal considering it's cheaper.
I mean, yes, but the whole thing is it's supposed to be cheaper than that. That was like back in the day when we all had to have cable packages. We all dreamed at this time that, man, once the internet gets a little bit faster and we don't have to have a cable subscription, we can just stream content. It'll be so much cheaper. And that was the dream. The dream is turning into a nightmare. But there are still deals to be found, and I'm going to keep shopping around. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Listen, YouTube TV's got a lot of subscribers. Were you one of them? Did you get that email this morning? Did you look and go, another mother? This thing was $50 not that long ago, and now it's $83 a month. How do you feel about? Are you going to look for alternatives, or are you like, hey, listen, I don't like the price increase, but I love the service that I get, and it's still worth it for me? That's understandable too. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? In what I would not call the second most important awards of the season, I think probably the second most valid. Obviously, the big one is the Oscars. I don't give a lot of credit to the Golden Globes. SAGs are great, but that's only for actors. The DGAs are great, but that's only for directors, and so on and so forth. I honestly think that the next best, most credible awards is the Critics' Choice Awards. A body that, unlike, say, the Golden Globes and the Hollywood Foreign Press, a body of voters of almost 600 voting base, all professional journalists and critics and things like that, coming together. Again, not as good as the Oscars, but it's the next best thing. Well, the Critics' Choice Awards have just put out their list of nominees for this year's awards season. And we're going to take a look at them right now. Nominated. Your 10 films nominated for Best Picture are, I said 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. Are, and this might end up being the actual Oscar list too. A Complete Unknown. That's the new Timothée Chalamet movie. Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, The Substance, and Wicked. By the way, Wicked and Conclave lead the field, both with 11 nominations each. So Wicked and Conclave both have 11 nominations each.
Wow.
All right, in the Best Actor category, they got Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Daniel Craig for Queer, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, and Hugh Grant for Heretic.
Just saw it last night.
What did you think of Hugh Grant in it?
Dude, I highly recommend you go see it.
All right. We'll move into Best Actress. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. Carla Sofia Gasson for Emilia Perez. Marianne Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths. Angelina Jolie for Maria. Mickey Madison for Honora. and Demi Moore for The Substance. And Best Supporting Actor, Yura Borisov for Honora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing. Whenever I hear Macklin, all I think is Burt Macklin, FBI. Some of you will know it, some of you won't. Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2. In the category Best Supporting Actress, Danielle Deadweiler for The Piano Lesson, Anjuan Elise Taylor for Nickel Boys, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Margaret Qualley for The Substance, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Emily Perez. I'm not going to bother with Best Young Actor. Best Ensemble, Honora, Conclave, Emilia Perez.
Stupid kids.
Who gives a fuck? Emilia, Saturday Night, Sing Sing, and Wicked. Nice to see Saturday Night on that list.
Oh yeah, man. That's probably my stand-up.
Yeah,
there.
Because that's a true ensemble movie.
We don't care about Best Director.
Well, no, Best Director. Jacques Adiard for Emilia Perez, Sean Baker for Honora, Edward Berger for Conclave, Brad Colbert for The Brutalist, John M. Chu for Wicked, Coralie Farragut for The Substance, Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys, and Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2. Then we got screenplay, cinematography, production design, editing. I want to get down to visual effects. Okay, so visual effects, we were talking about these recently, are Gladiator 2, Wicked, Dune Part 2, Better Man, The Substance, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. No Godzilla X Kong.
No.
I still kind of
too
feel
big for
that
the
should be
awards.
on there. It's too big for the awards.
I don't know.
I kind of feel Godzilla vs. Kong should get a nomination.
It was good, but man, compared to the other, like The Substance, man,
It's got to
that's
go to
crazy.
Planet of the Apes or Dune, in my opinion.
I mean, I think it should go to Dune, personally. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. I'm seeing some people say, somebody in the live chat saying, Wicked is so overrated. What are we doing? No, I'm sorry. Wicked is not fucking... Listen, I am not the Wicked demographic at all. That movie is not made for me.
I mean,
And this is one of the best films of the year.
Did they see
it is not overrated at all. I don't think it should win Best Picture, but I like I said, when I came walking out of that theater, man, I'm like, yeah, this is going to get nominated for Best Picture. It's a phenomenal triumph of filmmaking. It's really, really great. Anyway, so yeah, and then we got Best Animated Feature.
all right,
They list Flow,
saw that.
Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul,
Yeah, Wallace.
and the Wild Robot. Interesting. Mufasa did not get a nomination.
No, well, it's live action. They got them tigers to talk this time,
Well, the other awards body knew to put it in animation, but
And they-
they did not put it in,
and they are
in
tigers,
animation.
by the way, not lions.
And
Flow is beautiful,
Challengers?
but I think it's probably going to go to Inside Out 2, or then Wild Robots the second.
Challengers in there somewhere.
Well, now this is Best Comedy.
Yeah, I'll
So
challenge.
clearly, Challengers are going to be in here, right? A Real Pain, Deadpool and Wolverine, Hitman, My Old Ass, Saturday Night, and Thelma, and a big snub for and a big snub for Conclave.
Big snub.
Conclave not getting a Best
Wait,
Comedy.
Wait, what was
nomination.
Thelma? Thelma. I
You
don't
know what?
remember
That's the one on the list I don't know.
Is that the one with the grandma?
Anyway, so there we have it. Those are the major ones coming out, and like normal,
It is.
every year,
Oh yeah.
this is the time of year now where I think the Oscars are coming into focus, right? Because we've had a number of the Film Critics Circle nominations, like New York Film Critics Circle, LA Film Critics. We've had the AFI, the National Board of Review. Now we've got the Critics' Choice. So we're starting to get a picture of kind of probably what the Oscar race is going to look like. And it's probably going to be very similar to a lot of the lists that we're seeing here. I mean, not identical. I don't expect The Substance to get a Best Picture nom at the Oscars.
no.
But I mean, a lot of the Brutalist is, Complete Unknown is, Honora is, Dune Part 2 is, Wicked is, Sing Sing is. So we're starting to get an interesting picture of that. I still don't have my Oscar picks though. I'm going to wait until February to give my Oscar picks because I'm still not 100% sure on that. But anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about the nominees for this year's Critics' Choice Awards? Are there films that you think are being blatantly left out? Are there films on the list you don't think should be there? Do you have favorites out of the list that are there? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this, shall we? You know, one of the animated films of the last generation that doesn't get talked about a lot, but whenever it comes up, people seem to gush about it. And that's Tangled. Again, not a movie that we talk about a great deal, but everybody, when you do bring it up and you talk to people about it, everybody seems to have a really, really positive feel about it. Everybody seems to love it. And what's interesting is it now looks like they're going to be doing a live action remake. A live action remake. And Michael Gracie, the guy who directed one of my favorite films in the last bunch of years, The Greatest Showman, is apparently looking like he's going to sign on to be the director of a Tangled live action film. This is what Deadline had to write. They said Michael Gracie of The Greatest Showman has entered negotiations to direct a live-action Tangled for Disney, Deadline can reveal. A modern retelling of the classic Rapunzel fairy tale by the Brothers Grimm. Tangled is being described as a revival of Disney's Oscar-nominated 2010 animated feature of the same name, which was the 50th put out by the studio. Plot details are under wraps. Really? It's a remake. And you have to say plot details are under wraps. It's about a Russian secret spy. But plot details are under wraps. But the film is expected to follow along the lines of the animated version. All right. I actually really like Tangled. Tangled's a really fun little movie. But again, it's not one of those ones that became a part of the pop culture zeitgeist, right? It hasn't become that one of those enduring things like Lion King or the first Moana, turns out it did, or Toy Story. Like, it didn't become one of those. We don't talk about it a lot. But again, when you do bring it up in film conversation circles, everybody's pretty quick to point out, oh, I really like that.
It did fairly well, almost 600 mil.
Yeah, I mean, so it was a moneymaker. Yeah. It was successful. I still think I remember what the guy who plays Shazam.
Zachary Levi.
Zachary Levi. I knew it was Zach something. Zachary Levi did the voice, I think, of the prince in it.
Did he?
And I remember they did a music number at the Oscars and stuff like that. Good for them. Look, the reason though that I'm interested in this, because let's face it, the Disney live action remakes are hit and miss. Like literally, one comes out Cinderella, it's really good. Another one comes out Maleficent, and it sucks. One comes out good, one comes out sucks. They're hit and miss. But you put Michael Gracie directing this, and you instantly have my attention. I love the work this guy did with The Greatest Showman. Hugh Jackman just raves about him. And, Hugh Jackman has worked with a lot of directors. And Jackman just absolutely raves about him and his work and all that kind of stuff. And, you put him in charge of that after what he did with Greatest Showman, you're going to take Tangled, make that a live action? Listen, I got to be honest. Look, you could bring up another Disney animated thing and say they're going to do it a live action. I'll go, okay. Because again, hit and miss. Michael Gracie doing Tangled? I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I'm actually kind of excited about that. I think this could be something pretty special.
It's not something we just recently saw. My problem, again, with the Moana thing, which I think it's going to do fine, but it's like we just got Moana 2, and then in a little while, we're going to go get the live action, but of Moana 1, and it just seems so recent, But this is great. It's 14 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's oh, God, say that again.
It's 14 years ago.
Oh, guys, that Tangled movie was 14 years ago.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm almost wondering if
there are kids going into high school that weren't alive when Tangled came out.
Yep.
Think about that. Oh my God, that felt bad in my butt. Oh, that feels bad.
I'm gonna take the shot over here. Yeah, I wonder if one of the reasons why I'll bring this up just for reference, but it went up against How to Train Your Dragon that year, and
what a great year,
and Shrek Forever After, and then it went up against Megamind, Toy Story 3.
Oh, Megamind,
Toy Story 3, and Despicable Me. And then just some other like smaller ones. But
and Dwayne Johnson's Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, Tooth Fairy.
That was a juggernaut.
But I mean, it had a lot of competition back then, so maybe that's why it kind of got overshadowed.
But it still made about $600 million.
Yeah.
Right, which is good. So anyway, guys, I'm personally looking forward to this. How do you feel about it? Maybe you're like, oh, come on, another live action remake. I understand that sentiment. I completely do. But this is the director of The Greatest Showman doing it. So I don't know. It's got me excited. However you guys feel about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. By the way, our channel member is saying, 14 years ago, I was 8 years old. And now he's graduated from college. Anyway, whatever you guys think, jump on down and let us know. All right. With that down, guys, we still have a couple things here to talk about, including, get ready for this, Mike Flanagan is going to be doing a live-action Clayface movie for DC, which is going to get a lot of people excited. And the first reactions for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 are out, and they're all saying it's the best one yet. We're going to talk about these things and a couple things more, but before we do, we're going to take a couple of minutes here and thank a couple of sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Mando and Miracle Made. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Mando. Guys, I've got to tell you about something that changed my whole body care game. Mando Whole Body Deodorant. Now, I first heard about Mando last year when they offered to become a sponsor of the show, and I was honestly skeptical. I mean, a deodorant can't really control odor for 72 hours, can it? But after using it myself, I am a believer. You can use it anywhere on your body, and I mean anywhere. It's clinically proven to keep you smelling fresh for up to 72 hours without any irritation. I'm loving the Clover Wood scent, but they've got options like Bourbon Leather, Mount Fuji, Pro Sport, and even unscented if you prefer to go stealth mode. I like to use it after the shower, before the gym, or even important meetings. It's that reliable. And right now, Mando's got a killer deal. New customers get $5 off their best-selling starter pack with my exclusive code CAMPEA. That's over 40% off. Just go to shopmando, that's shopmando.com, and use the code CAMPEA. Seriously, guys, if you want a deodorant that's aluminum-free, baking soda-free, and just works better than anything else you've tried, it's time to make the switch to Mando. So don't wait. Control body odor anywhere with Mando. Head over to shopmando.com and use the code CAMPEA and get $5 off your starter pack. Trust me, you're going to love it. That's at shopmando.com. Go and check it out now. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Miracle Made. Guys, it's hot outside and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. There are just so many things that make these sheets so fantastic. We already mentioned the self-cooling properties for better quality sleep, but they're also self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So go to trymiracle.com/campea. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code CAMPEA at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/campea and use the code CAMPEA to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/campea to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. And thank you to our friends at Mando and Miracle Made for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's go on to this. With the insane success of The Penguin on HBO Max that just was far exceeded any hope or dream we had of how good that could be. And it's going to get nominated for all the awards and all that kind of stuff. It's fabulous. A lot of people were wondering, well, what's going to be next for this? I mean, we know in the DCU proper, we got Creature Commandos is out there right now. We got Superman coming. We got Brave and the Bold coming, all that kind of stuff. But what might be next for the Elseworld stuff that James Gunn is putting together? We've got Matt Reeves's and Robert Pattinson's Batman. We've got this Penguin out there now. What else are they going to do? Well, now we know the next thing up. Clayface. Being done by Mike Flanagan. The guy behind The Fall of the House of Usher, which I really liked, Midnight Club, Midnight Mass, Haunting of Bly Manor, Doctor Sleep, Haunting of Hill House, Gerald's Game. I mean, he's one of the most sought after guys. Like it's names right at the top are guys like Taylor Sheridan, Mike Flanagan. Like these are the guys who are the hottest of the hot right now doing stuff. And he's going to be doing a Clayface feature. This comes to us from Variety, who writes this. Fresh off the success of the HBO series The Penguin, DC Studios has officially greenlit a feature film centered around Clayface, the shape-shifting Batman villain from a script written by Dr. Sleep filmmaker Mike Flanagan, according to a source with direct knowledge of the production. Plot details are scarce, but filming is expected to begin early in 2025. Flanagan, who first pitched the DC Studios on a Clayface project in 2023, tweeted in 2021 that he was, quote-unquote, really keen to do a standalone Clayface movie as a horror, thriller, tragedy. But of course, at the time he couldn't because he was super busy, but as a horror, thriller, tragedy. Now, a lot of people I've already seen talking online is, does that mean he's going to pop up, that Clayface may pop up in a future Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson Batman film? And I think we're missing the point. I don't think this Clayface movie is going to be in the DCU. It's not going to be in Matt Reeves' Batman thing. It's going to be a true Elseworld standalone movie.
Right. Like the Joker.
Yeah, like the Joker.
Now, Matt Reeves is producing.
Yes, Matt Reeves is going to be
but we don't know the
producer
director and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I probably shouldn't say this out loud.
Oh no.
Oh no.
But there's gonna be an announcement at some point of Matt Reeves being very involved in the overall DC. I'm just saying, just keep I'm not gonna make a video with that in the title. I'm just saying, just keep your eyes open. Sometime 2025, just keep your ears open when something like that drops. Remember that you heard something. Anyway.
So if you guys don't see me around much.
Anyway, just dropping that there. I've just heard some birds singing, and that's all. Nothing big. Anyway, let's get back to the main headline here, though. First of all, Gerald's Game came out of nowhere and
oh yeah, it was great.
That was a movie that was like a nothing little throwaway movie, right? And then people saw it and like, holy crap, have you seen Gerald's Game?
Yeah. When Netflix was like fairly consistent with good movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doctor Sleep is one of the most underrated films of the past 10 years.
And a sequel.
Doctor Sleep was fantastic. I couldn't believe how much I loved that movie. And nobody saw it. Like, nobody went to go see it. I still think there's a lot of people who didn't realize it was a sequel to The Shining. But, I mean, I thought it was a wonderfully done movie. And then the popularity his popularity just increased with, like, Midnight Mass. So many people love Midnight Mass. Haunting of Hill House. I really like the Fall of the House of Usher. Which, no, it has nothing to do with Usher. For everybody who keeps asking that. Nothing to do with Usher. But he's one of the hottest names out there right now. And for him to say, I want to do a Clayface that is a horror / thriller / tragedy. Is anybody want to put money that this is going to be bad? I mean, obviously anything can be bad. Steven Spielberg has made a bad movie. Like everybody makes bad movies. Like it happens.
Which movie was that?
Which movie was that, John?
Which bad movie was that Spielberg did?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Well,
I can't remember
yeah,
which one
okay.
that was.
So, yeah.
I'm not going to start that fight again.
Yeah, let's not.
He has terminal memory loss.
Yeah. Just watch it. You'll see.
I'm not hankering for another
Oh,
argument.
boy. Do I have to put it on there? Oh, okay.
So, but in seriousness, is Mike Flanagan doing a Clayface movie that he says is going to be a horror thriller tragedy?
Yeah.
Of course, it could turn out bad. It could. But does anybody want to put money on that?
No.
I certainly wouldn't.
I'm not jonesing to put money on that.
Stupid.
If everyone knows, that was late, but still in time.
It was a little late.
It was late, but still in time.
Yeah. No, and okay. So this isn't going to be, well, our best guess, this is not in the
Matt Reeves Batverse. No.
And it's not going to be the DCU because typically Gunn is going to be the one who's going to announce the DCU proper films. So we get to see yet another take on Gotham, which is really cool to me.
Even if it even happens in Gotham.
That's true.
Like Joker, it may have no Batman connection whatsoever. And like everybody denies that they said it now, but I still remember they announced that Joker movie, that first one. That the first one was great, but the first one, everybody said, nobody's going to care if Batman's not in it. You can't have a Joker movie without Batman. No one's going to see this. This is going to flop, blah, blah, blah. $1 billion film nominated for Best Picture. Anyway, so I fully expect we're going to hear the same kind of chirping that once the bigger picture of this Clayface, I think there's still going to be a lot of people go, wait a minute, you can't have a Clayface movie without Batman. Kind of like they couldn't have a Venom movie without Spider-Man and it made $800 million. So that'll be fine. I think there's so much you can do here with this character. I think there's so much it could be done in the hands of a Mike Flanagan, especially if he's being told by James Gunn, dude, play in your sandbox. Whatever you want to do. You want to make it a horror? Go make it a horror. You want to make it a horror thriller? Go do it. Go do it. And we'll give you all the support. We'll get behind it. We'll make sure you have everything you need to do it. Go do it. Now, it doesn't say in this report that Flanagan will direct it. I hope he does. But if he doesn't, I'm sure he'll be a part of the process to help find a director for it. But either way, I think this sounds really exciting. And look, what James Gunn is putting together over at DC, for those of you who've watched me for a long time, like back to the AMC days, this is the kind of thing I've been wanting DC and Marvel to do. I've wanted both of these major studios so badly to get out of being everything is in the shared cinematic universe bullshit, because you are so limiting yourself creatively about the stories you can tell if everything has to be connected and everything has to be in canon. Then you are limiting so many stories. You can't tell that story because it would contradict this. Oh, you can't do that in that movie because it would contradict what we've already done in canon. You know what? I've been wanting Marvel and DC to really put together a robust film and television slate that has a solid cinematic universe, yes, but then also do what the comics themselves have done for generations. Tell one-off stories, tell separate stories, whether you want to call them what if or else worlds or whatever else. Just give us great stories. There's so many great stories in comic books that maybe you go, well, we can't do that because it doesn't fit in our cinematic universe. Who cares? Tell it anyway and say it's a separate thing. And James Gunn finally seems to be really doing it with not just Matt Reeves's little pocket of the universe, but also now other standoff one-shot things. And it really makes me think there could be a chance that someday we could get a, Red Sun story. I don't know, a Kingdom Come story or whatever. What was the Batman one by Gaslight? Was it
Gotham by
Gaslight? Was that the name of it?
Yeah, something like that.
I remember. I just can't remember the title of it. Anyway, it just opens up so many possibilities. You could tell a story where Batman and Wonder Woman fell in love, had a kid, and what did that kid end up being? You could do all these things. I'm not saying that's what the one they should do. It just opens up the thing. And you know what? I think the old argument of, well, that will confuse audiences. which I admit at one point years ago, I used to be guilty of that, saying, well, I think if you have multiple versions, it'll confuse audiences. You know what? It doesn't confuse audiences. You know, my mom will go, wait a minute, wasn't Superman in that? Oh yeah, but this is a different thing. Okay. Like, that's all it is. It's a simple one-line conversation. People aren't confused. People are fine. And now they just got to deliver. Hell, as Jose in the live chat is pointing out, Ray, it may even open up the door to do a Batman Beyond one shot.
Oh yeah.
Never know.
Well, this is really the main plan.
Because if you open up like what if and Elseworld things and stuff like that, maybe James Gunn goes, you know what? Let's give this Batman Beyond thing a shot.
I think the horror part of this film, like, is very
for Clayface,
very fascinating. It could be one of those ones that even break out of the superhero genre,
kind of like Joker did.
Yeah, breaks out of that container and hits a wider audience than what normally is watching the DC stuff. If it becomes a good horror film, like, hey, you want to see Clayface? Some people might not even know it's a DC. It stemmed from a DC character. So there's a big up and up for this.
I think you just said something that's 100% right. I think there are going to be a lot of people when this movie is coming out that don't even know what Clayface is, maybe not even have an idea that Clayface is a character that's connected to Batman. So, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here. But again, do they execute it well? Well, with Mike Flanagan writing it, I'm going to put my money on that it will, but we'll see. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? They've just announced that DC is going to do a live-action Clayface, and one of the hottest guys in the business, Mike Flanagan, has written the script. Maybe he'll end up directing it. We'll see. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, while today is in this studio, in this country, and around the world, Craven Day, there's a couple of other little films coming out next week. One of them being Mufasa, which I'm very curious. The first reactions from Mufasa have been out of this world. But there's another little film opening with a little blue hedgehog called Sonic 3 is coming. And, you know, I have really loved the trailers. I love the fact that we got Keanu Reeves doing the voice of Shadow. I think that's great. And I've loved the previous two movies. Like, I was so pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting to like the first one as much as I did. And I ended up loving it. And I thought the second one was just as good. Well, now we got the third one coming out, and the first reactions emerged yesterday online.
Let's go.
And it seems like in one unified voice, they're all saying it's the best one yet. So this comes to us from Screen Rant, who pulled together a bunch of the reactions. So Hollywood Handle said Sonic 3 nears perfection and is easily the best of the trilogy. While the first film felt like it was a kid's film, to a degree, sure, the third film feels like it's aimed at young adults with its story and tone throughout. The jokes never fail to find their place for the younger audience, and they go on. Next up, Chris Killian writes, it's not often that each movie gets better in a trilogy, but Sonic 3 is the best of the bunch. There's action-packed goofiness aplenty thanks to Jim Carrey pulling double duty, but what I didn't expect was a surprising, moving performance from Keanu Reeves. A third act that might make Sonic fans a little weepy-eyed. Also, there are two big post-credit scenes, so avoid spoilers. It's clear Foul Town and crew have a great affinity for the blue blur, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. So remember that, Ray. Two post-credit scenes. Oh. Can't leave. Two post-credit scenes.
Okay, two.
All right. Daniel Baptista writes, Sonic 3 is an absolute blast and a dream come true for Sonic fans. Keanu Reeves is effortlessly cool and brings so much style and raw intensity to Shadow, whose origins fans will love to see brought to life. Heartfelt, hilarious, and hands down the best Sonic adventure yet.
Yes.
Jeffrey Vega writes, I've seen Sonic 3 and I was surprised that my favorite emotional arc was actually with Dr. Robotnik. The cast is as wonderful and as goofy as ever, and I teared up when I heard spoiler. Also, you are not prepared for the mid-credits scene. Rachel Leichman writes, Sonic 3 begs the question, what if Ben Schwartz made me cry as a blue guy who has to go fast? Just as action-packed and as fun as the first two films, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 really revs up the ante and reminds us why we love these movies. Go Team Sonic.
Oh, Team Sonic, huh?
Cameron Frew writes, what can I say? Sonic 3 really did feel like a dream come true. I have more thoughts, but in the spirit of Shadow, I'll leave you with one word. Damn. What do you got over there, Ray?
No, we're going to try to prop this up. No. Go ahead. Continue.
So, I mean, but that's it. I mean, it's all the same. It's all the same.
It's all the same.
You know, for me, it didn't have to do much to actually.
We could tell.
No. I mean, I don't mean that in like, oh, it could be crap. But I mean, I've enjoyed the past 2 movies so much.
Yeah.
Me too.
That it didn't really have to do much to keep that ball going, for me at least. I cannot wait to see this. I'm so excited. The thing that review said about the mid-credit scenes and the spoiler, whatever, now my brain's like just thinking what
Like
it
part
could be.
4 or whatever, possibly.
Like who it could be. Like,
So, as somebody who didn't play many of the Sonic games, I mean, obviously, Tails was teased at the end of 1. Shadow teased at the end of 2. We got Knuckles. Who is it? Is there another big Sonic character that they could introduce?
for me, there's this, I don't know if he's newest character because there's a Metal Sonic or like a Neo Sonic where it's he's like a robot or cyborg. I would love to see that. But I can't think of any other big character other than the ladies that we haven't seen yet. Rogue and Rose. I mean, I think it's Rogue. Is it Rogue?
There's Amy.
Rouge.
Someone's saying Amy also.
Amy. Sorry.
Well, here's a question. Now, remember, I have not seen it, so I'm not fake spoiling anything. I haven't seen the movie. I have no idea what it is. Could it be other game characters?
Oh, right. Pikachu.
Like, could it be? I don't know if the studios align. I don't know if
Well, Paramount did do Detective Pikachu.
did they do Detective
Yeah.
Pikachu? What if Pikachu pops up in this?
Holy crap.
What if what was the guy in the metal suit, like the what was that game from back in that era? He's like a full metal suit. It's a one-word name of the game.
Is it-
Metroid?
Metroid. Like maybe
I'm not
I
sure
don't
if
know.
Paramount
Mega
has
Man.
it.
No, Mega Man.
Mega Man.
Mischievous in the live chat is one. So maybe Mega Man.
That would be funny to see Mega Man in the human world, like, because
Mega Man would be cute.
Yeah.
Metroid
Star
didn't make
Fox?
much sense. Oh, dude.
So
I love
again,
Star Fox.
I'm just guessing. Like, if they're saying a major credit scene, and no, guys, it can't be Mario, but major
No.
credit scene, like maybe it's instead of just from the world of Sonic, maybe they're bringing characters from other popular video games.
if it's not in the world of Sonic, I'm definitely on board with the Pokemon thing. They did mention it in the trailer, and so maybe they had the power to actually bring
That's
those
right.
to life.
They do specifically
Yeah.
talk about Pokemon in the
Yeah,
trailer,
that's
don't
when
they?
I remembered. Oh, they did Detective
But
Pikachu.
then again, by doing that, they're saying in Sonic's world, Pokemon is a fictional fake thing that has cartoon,
Or-
not real.
or maybe they go to the Pokemon world.
Maybe.
Oh, that's crazy. This is gonna be nuts. I can't wait to see the credit scenes that they're talking about.
So I mean, listen, across the board, and again, listen, we all know that the first reactions tend to skew a little bit more positive than they end up being in the full reviews, but still, this is pretty enthusiastic endorsement. And again, across the board, they're all saying this is the best one yet. So whether it does live up to be the best one yet or not, we will find out soon. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about these first reactions for Sonic 3? They're all out of this world. Are you looking forward to seeing it? Maybe you haven't seen the other ones, or maybe you have and you didn't like them that much. That's fair. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Oh, I like the one theory from Haunted Mario. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show up. Ray likes that idea. You see Ray's mind now going.
But oh man, that's crazy though.
That would be nuts.
That's a little too crazy.
All right, guys, with that stuff down, it's time for us to get on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take a quick moment here and thank another sponsor of today's episode, our friends at Aura Frames. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Aura. Let's be honest, what most people really want for the holidays is to see their favorite people more often. That's why this year, the best gift you can give, besides plane tickets, is an Aura digital picture frame. Named the #1 digital photo frame by Wirecutter, Aura frames are incredibly smart and easy to use, allowing you to upload unlimited photos and videos directly from your phone to the frame. Plus, you can order the frame online and preload it with photos and videos using the Aura app, so it's ready to go right out of the box. Ann and I have had had ours for a while now, and we absolutely love it. Because you may not know, Anne and I like to take a lot of pictures, including a lot of our dogs, Anne's recent trip to Paris, and a whole bunch of other things. And we love having it right on display right there in our living room. So save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get 35% off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames by using promo code Campea at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code Campea. This deal is exclusive to listeners, so get yours now in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions apply. And thank you to our friends at Aura Frames, Ann and I love ours, for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to your... you got some other topics that we didn't cover here today you'd like us to? Go ahead and fire those in now. So, Jonathan, what we got up first?
Okay, first up, Garden Variety with a two-parter says, I'm a believer in magical items in TV and film as much as the rest of us, but one magic item continues to confound me. NCIS, yes, I'm over 50, has a 25-year-old magic fax in their office that was manufactured in 1999 by a segment of Pitney Bowes that closed.
I remember Pitney Bowes.
They closed in 2001 and serviced by a service company that was bought in 2006. So we are to expect a 25-year-old fax still works and is serviced by a ghost company. Yes, I worked for both former companies. They definitely need an Office Space episode for that fax.
You know, here's a funny thing. I mean, fortunately, most people today, I mean, faxes were even almost out of, service by the time I was, old enough. But I still remember, like when I was working in my first law office, even then it was considered a little bit antiquated, but a lot of faxes were sent. In a law firm, a lot of faxes were being sent. Even though there was other much more effective technology around, faxes were still a big thing. And it was all, like, I still remember it being, it was always, I wonder if this will go through.
Yeah,
I wonder.
me too. Because it gave no confirmation.
No, like, well, I remember they did start, there were start to be confirmations, but even then, I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, because people were like, we didn't receive it. If something was wrong on their end too, you had a problem.
And when faxes would come through, a lot of the times they're like, what does this say? Like it wasn't good quality. And for some reason, the law field still used it, even though when it was well antiquated at that point.
Wait, so he wasn't talking about the show? He was just talking about the real...
No, he's talking about... No, sorry, he's talking about the show. I just brought up like fax machines and all. So it just made me think about that. That's all. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, the miniseries I am looking forward to in 2025 is King and Conqueror about the Battle of Hastings. They have got good actors in it too. I always felt sorry for Harold. He was actually okay. On the other hand, William was a tyrant and a very evil man. Well, taking us back to 1066, the Battle of Hastings. William the Conqueror.
Never heard of this project. I've never heard of it.
I didn't know that they were. I don't know what it's on. It sounds. I love that era.
Did he say it's a miniseries?
Yeah.
So does that mean it's on network TV or is it going to be a streaming thing?
King and Conqueror.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. It actually, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a mobile game.
I know, right?
After you're done with Candy Crush and whatever, play King and Conqueror.
Oh, Nikolaj Coster-Waldau is in there.
Oh, the guy from Game of Thrones.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to see where it is streaming.
Oh, they're saying it's a BBC thing.
Okay,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it would also make sense about why I haven't heard of it yet. But they keep putting out stuff that I really like, so I'll probably check it out when it comes out.
There you go.
All right, what's next?
Maybe they'll have a fax machine.
Fax me when it comes out. Let me know.
Cyan says, John, I am currently watching the first 8 of 16 episodes of Secret Level.
I didn't know it dropped yet.
It did drop.
The Amazon anthology show based on different video games and IP that came out this week. The show came out this week. I highly recommend you and Ray watch them together as they are each short and pretty good. So are they documentaries?
No, they're just like little shorts.
No, they're like little short stories.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember we talked about the trailer?
Right.
I got to tell you, I remember when we talked about the trailer. It's a very interesting idea.
I know. I got to check it out. I forgot about that.
Amazon, home of the video game stuff.
Yeah,
that's their slogan.
Yeah, I
like the video game stuff. Amazon.
I like what they're showing. I think it's a really neat idea. And now that I'll definitely check it out. I'll sit down and check those out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it dropped yet though. That was the thing. All right, what's next?
Baby Knife says happy 10 years anniversary of the AMC 100 million view party.
Wow, was that 10 years ago?
Yeah, I had the pleasure of attending and getting a chance to meeting everyone. What a great night. That was a fun night. That was over at the Stream in Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can find any of the images for that.
Isn't there like a video from Dave Bautista or something like that you played that night?
Well, no, the video from Dave Bautista was for when we did our
your
our
relief
our special charity stream and stuff like that. That was a great night.
When the stream was actually put together.
Yeah, when they had both sides.
Yeah, when we had it at the Stream. I still remember when we did our 100 million view party for AMC. I still remember, Ray, you and I got a car. We had a car and driver and took us down. And we didn't know if anybody was going to come.
Yeah.
And as we were we were in Hollywood, and as we're pulling up the street, we're not just a few blocks from Paramount Studios, I think. We're pulling up the street, and we see a huge slew of people on the street. We didn't know what was going on. As we got closer, we started to realize that's the lineup for our 100 million view party.
Yeah, went out and around the block.
It went out and around the block, and it was like, oh my God, it was a wonderful night. It was really a great night. I'm going to see if I can find a couple of pictures of that. I'll take a minute and do that in a second. But anyway, great night. I can't believe that was 10 years ago.
We gave away shirts and everything.
Yeah, we gave a lot of stuff away. It was wonderful. It was a great evening. All right. What's next?
We got Don't You Blame the Movies said, had a look at times for Craven.
You're so sassy when you say that.
Yeah, well, they are.
Don't you blame the movies.
And what I call the most popular times, around 7 to 8, only had showings in IMAX or 40X. There were no standard screens at £20 a ticket. I can see this impacting his box office. Luckily, I have unlimited card and pay uplift of £5. Yeah, at the AMC Burbank, it's playing in the IMAX, and then it's playing in the smallest theater inside the AMC 16. That's it. And that one's pretty much empty.
Yeah, it was.
Only the IMAX has people.
It's funny. Our buddy Ryan called me today, and he's going to, I think he's going to cancel his tickets, actually, but he's got tickets for 6 o'clock.
Chicken.
Because he went in and got them this morning. He's like, there were only 4 other people in the theater when I bought my tickets. What, like in the theater that I got my tickets for Craven.
Man, it's because they all went before that.
Yeah. By the way, I brought up, I found this picture. This is the night of the 100 million view party.
Now, that was actually in the room where we ended up streaming your John Campea show years later. But
yes,
that's where the step and repeat was set up right there.
We did the John Campea show from there for a while.
Look
By
how
the way,
I know.
You see right beside me, Dennis Zen. Tomorrow night, we're heading into Hollywood
for his movies.
Yep, Dennis Zen is doing the world premiere of his short film at the Culver City Film Festival, and we're going to a pre-party with him first, and then going to go see his film. Super proud of the dude. Like Dennis. In all the years I've spent in this space, Dennis is the smartest guy I've ever worked with. I can't say enough about Dennis Zen, and it's I just couldn't be prouder of the guy.
He's a wonderful person
for doing that. Speaking of projects too, I was talking to Robert the other day. He sent me the first 3 chapters of True Noir.
That's awesome. I've been following his photos and everything.
Yeah, he sent me I've got it loaded up on my machine right here. So Robert Meyer Burnett, you guys know, for the last half a year, he's been working on this radio drama. This radio drama project that he did with Michael Rosenbaum.
Sounds great from what I've heard.
It's called True Noir, and it's sounding really good. So yeah, he finally sent me over the first 3 chapters of it, the first 3 acts.
Chris Carr's in it too.
Yeah, Chris Carr does a voice in it as
Logan,
well.
I think. Yeah.
So again, tomorrow night, Dennis Zen's thing, really excited about that. Again, look at that picture.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Schnepp.
And we miss Schnepp. All right. Anyway, what's next?
DJ says, in Batman Beyond, there's a cool episode when the Justice League travels to the future and old Bats meets younger Bats. Be cool if Marvel did this with Evans and Cap for Secret Wars. Marvel have their moments of making cheesy ideas good, like Andrew and Toby.
But we've already seen
they kind of did, right?
2 Caps meet each other, right? I mean, they kind of already did that.
2 young ones, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, one slightly younger than the other.
That is America's ass.
That's right. That was a great scene, by the way.
Bucky's alive.
I mean, they could. I'll be honest with you. I don't have a lot of interest in old man Steve Rogers. I'd rather see them, since it is, again, I hate multiverse, but since it is a multiverse movie, you might as well take advantage of that. I much prefer the idea that they'd go and pluck him back from when he was returning the Infinity Stones and bring him back to help with the current situation. I prefer that, but we'll see what they do.
I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, they gave us Fat Thor, so we might get old man Steve Rogers.
All right, they could. All right, what's next?
DJ's back and says, I remember in the 90s, they said you will never get Batman versus Superman or Avengers movies because the characters are too valuable on their own. But as we have seen, things change. Do you think we will ever see a spy team up? Bond, Ethan Hunt, Reacher, Bourne, etc.?
Nobody ever said we'll never get an Avengers movie because the things are too popular on their own. A lot of people in the 90s might have said, I don't know if we'll ever get an Avengers movie because you can't actually make it look right because the technology at the time. Nobody ever said we'll never get a Batman versus Superman. At least I've never heard anybody say that. So like Batman and Superman are both DC comics that interact with each other all the time. The Avengers characters are a thing. The Super Spy movie is not a similar question. It's a completely different issue because you're talking about completely different franchises with completely different studios under completely different licenses and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah,
I mean, I don't expect it. No, but again, never say never. Studios merge, rights get sold. Anything can happen in the future.
Yeah.
I would just say don't expect one anytime soon.
We never thought we'd see Spider-Man in Avengers, and then they finally made that deal.
Well, I mean, but that was in a very short window, right? Obviously, for a long time, we thought we'd see Spider-Man in Avengers. Then Sony got the rights to Spider-Man. We thought, well, we'll never see that happen.
Yeah.
But then Sony and Marvel created that massive. I still remember where I was. Me, Dennis, and Amy Rose Eisenbach. We were in the foyer of our hotel in Atlanta because we were there. I was a keynote speaker at the AMC Leadership Conference.
Mm-hmm.
And it was late one night and we were returning from dinner and we were in the foyer and all of us kind of looked at our phones and it's like, Sony and Marvel just made a deal. And that was the beginning of the deal that they are currently working under. I'll still never forget where I was when I got that.
And imagine all the handshakes that have to take place in order for that Super Spy movie to actually happen.
Oh,
between the studios, between the actors, between, it's
I mean, look, I'd be there. But
sure, like you did a Bourne and Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise. You get a Matt Damon, Tom Cruise, Bourne, Mission Impossible crossover.
Yeah,
I'll be there, 100%. The red tape, and I just don't see it ever happening. All right, what's next?
Joel, the two-parter says, "Hey people," or "Hey team." People relate Sentry more with Superman, but really it's Hyperion, not the Sentry. Look at the powers. Superman doesn't have the void entity. His powers don't come from serum, and he doesn't have matter manipulation, like the Sentry in some comics. Hyperion Hyperion have the same powers: heat vision, cold breath, etc. In some comics, he's the last Eternal in his universe, like Superman is the last Kryptonian. He can use the sun's energy. By power set and origin, he is the most similar.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah,
for sure.
In stats.
But
we'll say similar in stats, but similar in treatment. Like there is the one top of the pyramid character. Sentry, Superman. I mean, so you're right though. He is right though, Ray, right? Like in terms of stats.
Oh yeah. He's definitely, Hyperion is more closer to Superman. And I think one of the biggest things, and this is the dumbest thing, is the S that Sentry has.
Right.
A lot of people try to like make him the Superman of the Marvel.
Right.
But in terms of powers, he's absolutely correct.
All right, what's next?
Rob Buck says, "Forgive me, crew, for I have sinned. I, Rob, follower of Campea, student of Carr, have never watched the Lord of the Rings movies."
Wow.
Pause for gasps and shock of horror. "May I roll 9 natural ones for the folly of men who above all desired power."
Listen, no apologies needed. I envy you. I envy you. Not because you haven't seen them, but because you get to do something I will never in my life be able to do again. You're going to get to watch Lord of the Rings for the first time. I remember when the pandemic was going on,
real hard.
and a lot of people were like, use the pandemic as an opportunity to get, like, how many people wrote and said, I watched Godfather for the first time. But a lot of them were, I watched Lord of the Rings for the first time. And I was always so filled with envy and jealousy. And that's what I feel. I feel envy and jealousy. You get to watch Lord of the Rings for the first time. So no apologies needed that you haven't seen it. Just do something about it and go make sure you watch them now, because you're in for a treat. All right, what's next?
Rob Buck, you kneel to no one. Garden Variety Vagabond says, UK Daily Telegraph calls Craven the Hunter rock bottom. Sony's response, hold my beer.
Rock bottom.
Rock bottom.
But there's our good or bad?
Well, probably bad.
Let me look up. We're gonna do an update here.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, let's do this.
Craven the Hunter. Actually, the number of reviews has gone down.
Yeah, it was 63. Someone's like, I want my review back.
Wait a second. The number of reviews has gone down. It's still that happens in the first 24 hours usually with Rotten Tomatoes.
They separate people who weren't
No. It's just that there's something in their system where it's like, oh, there've been 68, then it says 55 and whatever. It's that usually happens in the first 24 hours as the reviews start coming in and starts processing. It all evens out after that, but it's still sitting at 16%. All right, what's next?
Okay. Sir Z says, firstly, apologies for the number of messages. I messaged you guys last week about my master's. Officially graduate today from Cal Baptist with my master's of science, I guess.
Oh,
in
Cal
kinesiology.
In kinesiology. My dad has Parkinson's and other patients with this and other geriatric conditions. I'm making my mission to help those who are neglected by the health system. I wanted to thank you all for helping me through the last 18 months. You guys are a pleasant escape from the toxicity of the world. I wrote a book this year. Would like to send each one of you a thank you present. Where can I send them? John, last week I asked about the TMNT Last Ronin movie. Not sure if you were able to find out any more. Also, please let the family know that you're helping, that they're in my prayers. That's the family for
our Christmas, our adoptive family thing, which we are doing the delivery next week, I believe. I think we're doing our annual gift delivery to our adoptive family this year next week. It's always probably my favorite day of the year. As far as I understand, the Ronin movie is still happening. Okay, so there's
still
that.
Early. It's still way early.
Oh yeah, still very early, but I believe they're going to start shooting within the next 6 months.
Now there is an animated film, right, of it?
Oh,
yeah, there's an animated
it's
Last
comic,
Ronin thing, but they're doing a live action Last Ronin thing.
Yeah.
And I believe they're going to start shooting in the first half of 2025. I'll give you the more hardcore things of that a little bit later. But we don't accept physical packages or deliveries to us. We really never have. So, but thank you so much for the sentiment. That's very nice of you. And congratulations on graduating. That's always a huge thing. You're right. Cal Baptist is right up the road from us. And congrats to that, man. That's a huge accomplishment for you. And thank you for the kind words, man. We appreciate it. All right, what's next?
Okay, Serzi's back with one more. I bought a few items, and I hope it helps. Last but not least, taking our 13-year-old and 12-year-old to watch Craven at Galaxy Theaters in Riverside.
Whoa, Galaxy Theaters, yeah, Riverside.
But I don't look. I'm not saying you can't take kids. You know me. I'm definitely not saying you can't take kids to violent movies. I'm just, with how gory and how brutally violent the movie is, this might be one that you might want to see. I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm seeing it in 2 hours. So maybe it's actually not all that bad, but it might be one you might want to see first. But anyway, keep going. What was the rest of the question?
They both want to get into the industry. Can you recommend a way they can start? My recommendation is they need to grab a camera and start making home movies.
Yeah,
like
just shorts and stuff.
That's
like
how
that.
Spielberg started.
And then start like any other career, planning a career path where you're going to finish high school and then
with that direction,
look at getting in like a USC, their film program. I mean, that's expensive, but I mean, there's other New York Film Academy, Los Angeles Film School. There's a lot of film schools. Vancouver has some great film schools. Just start making, if that's what they really want their career path to be, figure out what discipline they want to do. Do they want to do design? Do they want to do writing? Do they want to do visual effects? Do they want to be editing? Do they want to do sound? Do they want to act? Do they want to direct? Do they want to produce? There's 50 different fields you can go. But just plan it out like any other career path if it's something they really want to do.
Also, thank you for the purchasing some of those Amazon.
Oh yeah. By the way, to everybody, we had, I think, well over 150 things we had listed for the adoptive family. Every single thing got bought, including a $200 dinette set. that they need, like a table and chairs and stuff like that. You guys come through every year. This year was no different. Everything sold out. And Anne and her mom have wrapped everything.
The dinette set sounds heavy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to you and Ryan putting that together.
Yeah, they said that you were taking that one.
Every year, Ryan and Ray get the big stuff, and when we deliver it to the family, Ryan and Ray are always bring their tools, and they assemble everything once we get there.
Oh.
All right, what's next?
Gonna get a cold soon.
Scooby Drool says, "Oh wow, with a $25 tip."
Oh, thank you, Scooby Drool.
30 in all because it's a two-parter.
Yeah. Truly.
Hello, John and crew. I recently rewatched Heat.
Nice.
Man, all right. And it was a fantastic movie with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino.
I see Oppenheimer.
That film had an awesome shootout scene with the police. It reminds me of The Town with Ben Affleck, John Hamm, and Jeremy Renner. I'm sure that it was an inspiration. That movie also had a great gun shootout scene with the police. Which of these two gun shootout scenes do you prefer? Or better still, which movie has the great intense gun shootout scene you favor? I actually go towards Heat.
I mean, I would have said John Wick, but you said excluding John Wick. I mean, there's two different things, right? There's the best action in a movie is when action is part of telling the story. Sometimes there are action scenes that are just there for the sake of them being there. But when action is actually telling a story, like best example ever of this, Return of the Jedi, Vader versus Luke in the Emperor's throne room. Story is being told through the action there, right? And that's always the best kind. In Heat, story is being told even in that gunfight. I don't like giving what's your top this and top that questions off the top of my head, because it's something I'd want to sit down and think about and because any answer I give right now, 5 minutes after the show is over, I'll think of something else and go, oh, I should have said that, or I should have said this, or I should have said this. So I don't really like to give answers to that, but that's one of the great things about those, particularly those two movies.
Yeah, between those two, I go Heat.
Telling a story.
Uh-huh.
It's part of the drama, right? It's part of that is those action sequences, and that's why they're both so good.
Yep.
All right, what's
no
next?
one ever mentions Val Kilmer in Heat. I don't know why. He was great in Heat.
Oh, he was awesome in that. Well, the reason that Kilmer doesn't get mentioned is the same reason Paul Dano doesn't get mentioned in There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, it's hard to
because Daniel Day-Lewis was in that, right? You in a movie with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, you're going to get treated as the third fiddle, intentionally or not, right? So that's probably, I bet you a lot of people don't even remember Val Kilmer was in it.
Yep.
All right, what's next?
Performing artist says, one of two. Hello all, saw 65 A-list films at the theater this year so far.
Nice.
Just, this was the first week all year that I've actually had all three of my weekly things checked.
All booked up?
Yep.
Nice.
I just wanted to point out 5 I felt deserved more attention. Dee Dee, I like Dee Dee. Daddy-O, Dakota Johnson in a good movie. The Instigators.
I like The Instigators.
So did that hit theaters, or was that only on Apple?
You know what? I don't remember.
Maybe it got a short release.
No, I think it was only Apple.
Okay.
It was only Apple. I mean, it wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be with this is the one with Matt Damon and Casey Affleck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be, but I ended up liking it.
All right. And goes on to say, my old ass, and yesterday someone mentioned Kill, so that was on his list as well, or hers. Honorable mention, Strange Darling was great. My old ass and 2 foreign films.
You can't have My Old Ass
on
your
you got
list
it twice.
and on your honorable mentions.
Yeah, I think he messed up. But Strange Darling, and then 2 foreign films that got U.S. releases, Red Rooms and The Beast. I know a lot of these movies are known by cinephiles like me, but thank you for indulging my happiness.
Again, the whole thing about A-list, one of the great things about A-list, or if you have a Regal near you, Regal Unlimited, whatever, is that it offers you the opportunity to go to a lot of movies that maybe otherwise you wouldn't have necessarily gone, right? Because you literally have, so if I go to my AMC, hold on a second here, I want to see what I got. Why is it not showing me my tickets?
Oh,
yeah, there it is. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you got to go to your account.
So if I go to my tickets right now, and yeah, my 3. So here are my 3. I've got my 3 are booked up right now because you
Okay.
can only have 3 reserved at a time. Because you can see up to 3 movies a week, you can have up to 3 movies reserved at a time. So, obviously today I'm going to go see Craven about an hour and a half from now, and then we're doing a double feature next week. We're seeing Sonic and Mufasa, both at the Dine-In Theater in Ontario Mills.
Nice.
Looking forward to that. So that's going to be good. So my 3 are already kind of booked up. But the great thing about A-List is I pay $25 a month, and that's almost the price of one movie ticket. And I get to go see 12. Guys, seriously, if I cannot emphasize this enough, and you know I am no shill for AMC theaters because I got some opinions about AMC theaters, but they are the movie theater I go to, and A-List is incredible. But if you are even a moderate film fan, where say you go to 2 movies a month or more, if you're the type of person who goes to like 1 movie a month, you don't need A-List. But if you go to 2 or 3 or 4 movies a month or more, you are wasting money if you don't get A-List. Because again, like they said, like even if movies are coming out that you may not be all that interested in, you know what? I get to go see it for free.
And no upcharge,
no upcharge for IMAX or 3D
Anything.
or Prime or Dolby or anything like that. It's all covered. And you go, or if you don't have an AMC near you, get the Regal Unlimited. If you don't have that, take advantage of whatever loyalty program your local theater has. They're not all as good as Unlisted or Unlimited and AMC A-List, but you should absolutely get them. I mean, you're literally just throwing money away if you don't get those, if they're available to you. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Jar Jar Abrams says, John, I know Stephen Amell is your boy, but that acting range leaves a lot to be desired. I saw the trailer for Suits LA, and he had the same exact mannerisms as Oliver, right down to the serious face, voice, and crossing the arms. I mean, a lot of that's the directing.
That's a lot of that's the directing. You know, he's become quite a good actor, I think. I finally got her. It took me forever because I did not watch Heels for a long time. He's really good in Heels. Now listen, when I said this during Arrow, when Arrow started, I really liked the show, but Steven was not exactly a great thespian at the time, right? But once you started getting later into the show, like he specifically was getting better and better and better as a performer. The show itself was not necessarily getting better and better and better, but he was. And yeah, I think he's going to do very well. I think he's going to do very well. And by the way, there's a lot of Robert De Niro movies you can pull up and say, well, this character kind of seems a little bit similar to that. Okay, well, that's the character. Like, does he do a great job in the show? I don't give a shit if the character kind of has some of the same mannerisms as Oliver did. That's regardless. If Stephen Amell didn't get the role and they put some other actor in it, that's still the character, right? So I don't care about that. What I care about is, does he give a good performance? Does he really draw us in? Does he make us love the character? That's the important thing. And I actually think Stephen Amell became a really solid actor. A little weak at first when Arrow started, absolutely. But I think he's evolved into a really good performer. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with Suits LA. We'll see. All right, what's next?
We got Hot Rod Todd. Have you had a chance to check out Secret Level on Amazon by chance? It might be up your alley if you haven't, especially the 2 episodes featuring D&D and Warhammer 40K. I don't even follow most of the featured IPs and was impressed with the content.
Yeah, again, like we mentioned a little bit earlier, I wasn't even aware that it dropped yet, but I am very interested in watching it, so I am definitely going to watch some of those. By the way, I finally started watching Landman.
Oh, yeah.
Really like it so far.
Is that Paramount Plus, or what's that on?
Yeah, it's a Paramount Plus thing. It's another Taylor Sheridan thing.
All right.
By the way, Paramount Plus has got some good stuff on it.
Oh, yeah.
I now actually absolutely believe it's worth having. I really do. Anyway, all right, what's next?
All right, we got Mike Rashetta, who says, happy Thursday, can't be a crew. John, you often say everyone has a bad day at the office. Is there any director that you think has hit a home run every time? I don't recall a Villeneuve that I
mean, if you want to pull out some directors that have a very small filmography,
right? Because then it's like.
But let's say if we limit the discussion to directors who have at least 7 feature films. I mean, I have at least liked every single one of Christopher Nolan films, but I don't think every single one has been knocked out of the park.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think Christopher Nolan's had a bad day at the office yet.
Yeah, for me,
it's coming, but I don't think he's done it yet.
For me, it's him.
I don't think that Denis
Villeneuve has not had a bad day at the. Every single one of his movies has been good. But even Scorsese has had one or two I didn't like. Even Spielberg, who is the greatest of all time, has had one or two I didn't like.
Who did The Revenant? Let me see.
That was not Alfonso Cuarón. It was it Inarritu or was it Cuarón?
It was Inarritu.
It was Inarritu. Yeah. So, but those are the only two. Christopher Nolan, Denis Villeneuve. I think those are the only two I can think. Again,
I'm gonna go Inarritu also because I don't think I've ever seen a movie that I thought was bad.
I don't know that I've seen enough of his films.
That's true.
To have it qualify for the discussion.
He doesn't have. Okay, he wouldn't qualify for the amount of movies though. Yeah. So
says some people saying Tarantino. I'm sorry, I love Quentin Tarantino. Love him. Death Trap sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like that movie at all. I think every single one of his other films I really like. Well, Hateful Eight also wasn't
even
that
Hateful.
Good.
I like how when they expanded it to more episodic because that felt like that's what it should have been. But yeah,
Eggers has a great track record, but it's too small of a track record. It can't count for the conversation. Right? What did I call it? Death Proof? What did I call it?
Death Trap.
I'm sorry, Death Proof. Yeah, Death Proof was not good. All right, what's next?
Tristan Thorpe, one of two, says, I remember when they announced RDJ as Doom and I had the instant knee-jerk reaction in which I didn't like it. It wasn't until the day after I sat back and thought, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought it is because we're in the multiverse saga and he's a great actor. Where is it? Oh, so with Chris Evans back, it seemed like a no-brainer, although I had no clue who he could be. Just hope it's a good movie.
Yeah, and again, understanding that I, in general, don't like multiverse, and I have been very critical of this multiverse saga that Marvel is doing, but it is what it is. It's a multiverse story, and if it's a multiverse story, not only is getting Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans in these things a completely brilliant move on their own, because these are the two most pivotal heart and soul actors who have been the face of the MCU. It's a brilliant move. But because it's a multiverse story, and again, I don't like multiverse, but if you're going to make it a multiverse story, being a multiverse story, it would make no logical sense whatsoever to not have Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. in it, in whichever capacity they appear. Whether it's as Steve Rogers or Captain America or not, whether it's as Iron Man or Doctor Doom or something. Being a multiverse story, it would make zero sense. There is no good argument to make to not have Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans in it. It just makes sense. Now we'll see if the movie's good or not.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you what, they're going to make billions of dollars, not millions, billions. Not tens of millions, not hundreds of millions. They're going to make billions of dollars on this. It's just the most common sense, purely intelligent. It would be ridiculous not to do it moves that they could do. And listen, I understand the first initial reaction, like, wait, Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom? I get that. But like our viewer, if you actually take the moment and then think about it, it's not only does it make sense, it's pretty damn brilliant. They are going to make so much money with this. So much money. Anyway, what's next?
We got Matan, who says, do you think it's for the right price Warren Beatty will license the Dick Tracy film rights to a studio like the Spider-Man deal? I know it holds a special place for Beatty, but it will be interesting to see a take on Dick Tracy in the style of the Batman.
You know, it's fun. This is one of the funnier stories in Hollywood. Because I'm sure I'm getting some of the details wrong here, okay? But the basic gist is this. Warren Beatty still has the rights to Dick Tracy. Yeah. And I think like every 5 years, like I think it's kind of like the Sony deal. He has to have a Dick Tracy appearance every X number of years. So he'll do it. So I think like something like every 5 years, and I'm sure I'm getting the details wrong, but like something like every 5 years he shows up on a talk show, even like an internet one, in character as Dick Tracy. Oh boy. Just so he can keep the rights to Dick Tracy, just to stick it to the studios. Anyway, will he ever give those rights up? He could, but here's the question. Who wants to buy them?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take them for $1,000. I'll take the rights. Hell, I'll take the rights to Dick Tracy for $50,000. But is there any studio out there that's going to go, oh yeah, we do a Dick Tracy movie today, that's going to make $600 million. So yeah, I think he would be willing at some point. But then at what price, and then what studio is going to be willing to do that? Because let's be honest here, you make a Dick Tracy movie tomorrow, no one's going to go see it. I mean, anything's possible. You know, Brad Pitt as Dick Tracy, and you make some huge spectacle out of it, maybe. But will he sell it? Probably at some point. But then who wants it, and how much are they willing to pay for it? Those are big questions. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Tristan Thorpe says, I also have to wonder, for every saying it's desperate, do they not realize we're to blame when we make movies like Doctor Strange 2, Spider-Man No Way Home, Deadpool and Wolverine, all the money? It would only make sense to bring those two back.
Again, anybody who calls the Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans moves desperate simply doesn't know the English language, because that's not what desperate means. Again, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Doing something that's desperate is when you make a bad decision that has a low chance of success because you have no other options.
Right.
You're desperate. Making a decision that has huge upside, is a guaranteed winner, and makes all the sense in the world, that is not the definition of a desperate decision. Again, Jonathan, you brought up a great example yesterday. I can't remember what it was, like the MCU saying, oh, I don't know, let's make Venom the big bad guy of the next one. Let's go get Tom Hardy's Venom. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't have a high chance of success. That would kind of be a desperate thing. Desperate, huh? We've got the two most successful heart and soul faces of the MCU. Let's go in that direction. That's not the definition of desperate. So anybody who uses that term, like, you don't have to like it. That's different. You don't have to like that they've got Robert Downey Jr. to come. You don't have to like that they're bringing Chris Evans in. You don't have to like it. That's fair. Nothing wrong with that. But if you call that desperate, I question that you have a basic fundamental understanding of the English language, because that's not what desperate means at all. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Tristan says, the last one, I swear, but just saw that Mike Flanagan is making a Clayface movie. They had me at Mike Flanagan. I can't wait. He's a damn good writer, and I can just see the drama and the body horror with the VFX. Fingers crossed it's good.
Mike Flanagan doing a Clayface movie, and him calling it a horror thriller? A horror thriller tragedy? What's not to love? Again, maybe it turns out and it sucks, but do you want to bet that it'll suck? I certainly wouldn't. This sounds great to me. I'm very excited about it. All right, what's next?
This is Ray on a burner account. Says Sonic 3 will be a $1 billion film. Blade will come out in 2026. Batman Beyond movie will happen.
Ray Aura.
Yeah, from the future.
Now listen. We come back to this Batman Beyond thing every once in a while. I do think there's a chance an animated film gets made. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I think tripled the chances of a Batman Beyond animated movie. But anybody who thinks we're going to get a Batman Beyond live action movie, even in the next 5 years, I think you're certifiably insane. But as somebody did point out to me not long ago, it is James Gunn in charge of the DCU now. James Gunn, who gave us a live action Polka Dot Man, who gave us a live action Ratcatcher, who gave us a live action King Shark. Is it really completely beyond the realm of believability that he could do a Batman Beyond? I get it. That's a point well made. I still don't think there's any chance. Anything beyond 5 years in the movie industry is an eternity away. But so anytime within the next foreseeable future, like 5 years, I don't believe there's any chance we get a Batman Beyond live action. I've been saying that for
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
And everybody keeps saying I'm wrong, and I keep being proved right. So I'm still stick with it. An animated film, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse may have changed my mind about that. Maybe they could do an animated one, but definitely not a live action one. All right, what's next?
Oh, you suck.
AL,
Well, you suck.
AL says, which character had the most tragic turn to the dark side? Vader in Episode 3, Magneto in X-Men First Class, Arthur in Joker, or Megatron in Transformers 1?
Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vader. I mean, the thing about Magneto is
He was already kind of there.
no, but he was always on the path.
That's true.
Like when you go to his childhood and stuff like that, at least with the origin stories that we're currently familiar with, he was always on that path. It was really just more of a nudge. I mean, Anakin, I mean, they could have snuffed that kid out with Moe says, "Are you an angel?" But
jeez, I remember.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh, sorry.
To all of you who try to rewrite history, guys, the Star Wars prequels sucked ass.
Hey.
They sucked ass.
Hey.
Whee! I'll try spinning. That's a good move.
I started sweating when he said that line. I was embarrassed to be in the theater.
Anyway, that all being said, I still think the tragedy of Vader, and that's probably the one for me. All right, what's next?
And she is an angel. Okay.
She is an angel.
That's so wizard, Annie.
It's so wizard.
Train Spotting Music Fan says, I don't know if the Skeleton Crew is trying to scare me, saying I will be redundant as a teacher and everyone will be taught by robots. Joking, I am off to LA for the holidays as my other half is American. All the best for Christmas and the New Year.
Oh, thank you so much. And may you have safe travels and enjoy yourself. And God, I am loving Skeleton Crew. Man, I haven't liked something Star Wars this much since Andor. And Andor was while Andor is the best thing Star Wars has ever made since the original trilogy, it's a different experience of Skeleton Crew. Like Andor didn't give me joy, you know?
Right.
Like watching Skeleton Crew, just joy. I love it. It's so good. By the way, Ann and I sat down and watched the new episode of Shrinking last night. And I know I'm always harping on Shrinking. It is the best show on television right now. I say that without hesitation. It's the best show on television right now. And if you're not watching Shrinking, what are you doing? All right, what's next?
Train Spotting is back, says, I don't know why no one has ever suggested Hugh Grant to host the Oscars. He could do with Emma Thompson, who was a stand-up comedian before becoming an actress and is quite capable of writing jokes.
Hugh Grant has got too much history. I love Hugh Grant. Don't get me wrong. Don't misinterpret me. I love Hugh Grant. But yeah, Hugh Grant has
baggage.
I won't even say in his closet. We'll just say in his drawers. Hugh Grant's got a lot of stuff in his drawers. And in today's world, the moment somebody gets announced as a host for the Oscars, everybody starts try to dig up dirt on them.
Of course.
Hugh Grant's has got too much to be dug up. And I just don't think that would work. I'd watch him. I love Hugh Grant. But
I also don't think they would lean towards a non-American to host.
Yeah. And let's face it, Hugh Grant isn't that popular today.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're going to go in that direction, you're going to want to get somebody. That's why something like a Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman to me makes far more sense, or even some other names like that. But I don't think Hugh Grant would work, even though I love him. All right. What's next?
Anonymous says 2024 has been an absolute train wreck for comic book movies. Madam Web, Joker 2, Venom 3, Kraven. The only redeemable one was Deadpool 3. In 25, it's 4 comic book CMB.
Comic book movies.
Yeah. Either introducing a new universe or characters. How much is writing on these to be successful?
For the genre as a whole, not a lot, to be honest with you.
Right.
I mean, look, for DC in and of itself, they need Superman to be. Superman doesn't need to be a hit. I've been saying that forever. DC does not need Superman to be a hit. What they need Superman to be is loved. They need to make a great movie. They can worry about making money with all the movies that come after that, but the movies that come after that ain't going to make money if Superman sucks. With Marvel, Deadpool and Wolverine was such a hit. Look, there's a great opportunity to really build momentum with like Thunderbolts and Captain America 4. But Deadpool and Wolverine was such a hit. Even if Captain America 4 is a little bit of a road bump, I think they're okay. I think they're okay even if Captain America 4 isn't all that good. I think Thunderbolts will then be good. They'll follow with Thunderbolts, then Fantastic Four. But so Superman, super important for DC, but not important to be hit. It's important to be good. Captain America 4, I honestly don't think it's all that important. They would obviously love for it to be good and be a hit, build the momentum. But again, I just think Deadpool and Wolverine is such a high that they can survive a road bump next. But what they can't have is Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four all sucking. Because then they're in a bad spot.
Mm.
But as for the genre as a whole, I think the genre as the whole is perfectly fine. Listen, Deadpool and Wolverine proved. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 proved. There is no such thing as comic book movie fatigue. They're not. There's mediocre movie fatigue. People are tired of mediocre movies. But the moment you put out one that's good, like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, it makes over $800 million. You put out Deadpool and Wolverine, guess what? Made way more than the other Deadpool movies did. Became the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. You put out movies like that, the audience is always ready to come back immediately. But you got to put out good product. So we'll see what happens next year.
Putting out good product is it's desperate.
It's desperate, just desperate.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Forbidden says earlier today, I think Alex Perez also hinted at the to be announced project that you mentioned in the Clayface talks. Interesting. Wonder what it could be. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, listen, it's in such the early stages right now that we're just going to have to wait and see, but we'll get there.
All
right, what's next?
3 more here. Nangang says it seems the script for Clayface is already done. They're only looking for a director to begin filming in early 2025. It's just as Gunn said, only greenlight future projects when they have a finished script. I love this approach. So excited.
Listen, James Gunn has done everything right so far. But that's all well and good until the projects come out.
Now, yeah.
Now, the projects have to deliver. But philosophically, he's made every right decision so far. Whether or not that turns into good movies or not, we'll have to wait and see. That's the true thing.
Yeah.
By the way, I was talking about the whole thing about, when you make something good, somebody in the live chat asked, what about The Flash? It's a great question because The Flash, in my opinion, was still a very good movie.
I like it.
But the problem is audiences have mediocre fatigue and they had given up. Audiences had just given up on the DCEU.
I like the Blue Beetle. It was just
I also like the Blue Beetle. But again, by that point, the audience had already completely abandoned and given up on the DCEU. There was no going back. That's why they had to reboot. They had to reset, say we're starting from scratch and bring in James Gunn. And that's why I keep telling people Superman is not going to be a big financial hit because it's going to take them some time to win that audience back because they had abandoned the DCU from all the crap they got. So anyway, we'll see how that works.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get an announcement in the future from Sony saying they've got a new, creative team in place. And,
100%.
So.
By the way, guys, again, all those reports running around that Sony has officially canceled their Spider-Man. No, they haven't. That's completely wrong. It's completely wrong. They have not. They've got a lot of stuff going right now in the Spider-Verse. They don't have anything else beyond that right now, but they are going to go back to that. Even the report and the wrap mentioned that. So everybody who's running around saying they've officially canceled the Sony Spider-Verse. No, they have not. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Mr. I says, if the post-credit scene of Sonic 3 is other Sega IP, there's Rystar, also created by Yuji Naka.
But nobody would get excited by that.
Yeah, Axel and Blaze from Streets of Rage.
Again, nobody will get excited about that.
My favorite would be Toe Jam and Earl. Hell, I'd be happy to see Sonic racing the car from Daytona, USA.
I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, right? But here's the thing. It's not like they have a lot of Mario Brothers.
Right.
Right? So it would have to be something like Mega Man. It would have to be something along like those. Star Fox is also a pretty good one. It would have to be something that a lot of people would instantly recognize. And, or something, maybe it's something else. I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, happy early Christmas. I'm an older watcher since the AMC days. What is your favorite moment as a show host, and what is a moment you wish you could redo? I remember when there was a skit where 2 hosts did a debate with prep notes, but it was just awkward.
I think to this day, my favorite thing that I did, I mean, it's probably still going to be that day that I did, that I had Kevin Feige and James Gunn and Chris Pratt all came into studio on the same day. That was huge for me. It's still to me, and I've had the chance to do a lot of different things. I'm going to see if I can. I mean, well, this is one image from that day. That's Chris Pratt beside me when I was talking about that stuff. I'll see here if I can find some of the others, but like, and little did I know on that day that I had Kevin Feige, James Gunn, and Chris Pratt, that I was literally sitting between the head of AMC Studios and the head of DC. So that's Kevin Feige with his back to us there, Chris beside me, and James Gunn. And so, like, again, little did I know at that time that I was sitting at the table with both the heads of DC and the heads of Marvel. A close second would probably be when I was asked to be the MC, the moderator for the Age of Ultron press conference and press day. So like that right beside me, that's Scarlett Johansson. Beside her was Joss Whedon, but the whole cast was there. Like beside Joss Whedon, I think was not Chris Hemsworth was a little bit further down the table, but Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Colby Smulders.
Didn't you ask Kobe the first question?
I did.
And Robert had that bit.
And Robert Downey Jr. got mad. Yeah. So look, so the story was I knew Colby Smulders probably wasn't going to get a question asked to her. Like when we went to the audience questions, because we had Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth and Scarlett Johansson and Joss Whedon and Robert Downey Jr., right? And she's a good Canadian kid. So I decided that the first question I was going to ask, because first it was my questions, then we threw it over the audience. The first question I was going to ask, I decided to ask Colby Smulders. And even Colby went, "Oh, you're asking me?" So anyway, later, when it came to Robert Downey Jr., a question came in for Robert Downey Jr., and Robert was great. He goes, "First of all," I made a video about this. You can see it on the channel. Robert goes, "First of all, the next time I'm not asked the first question, I'm walking the fuck out of here." He was great. He was really, really wonderful on that. I've gotten to moderate panels at Comic-Con. I got to moderate in Hall H at Comic-Con. I've got to do a lot of, listen, I've had a pretty charmed career. I've been really, really lucky in my career. But I think the best thing is I've worked with some real potholes in my career, but I've also worked with a lot of really great people. And I think that ultimately is my favorite thing, is a lot of the great people that I've had a chance to work with in my life. So yeah, there's that. All right, what's next?
Okay, we gotta hear from our members here. RJ Brando says, "At what point do we start to worry about the DCU greenlighting too many B-side characters or projects too early in the rebuild? Hearing about possible Clayface projects feels very Sony of them." Well, I think it's going to be
okay. Listen to me though. Listen to me. This is the problem that Sony has not that they made a Madam Web movie. The problem isn't that they made a Morbius movie.
Said it was so good.
The problem isn't that they're making a Craven movie. The problem is they're not making good movies. If Madam Web was a great film, we wouldn't be talking about this.
Yeah.
Listen, Sony did a pretty good job of getting people kind of excited about Morbius. The trailers were great, right? The problem wasn't that Morbius was a B-level. The problem was that they made a shitty movie. That was terrible. You make Venom, which was a crowd-pleasing, people really enjoyed it movie. It made $800 million. So what James Gunn, the problem isn't making a movie with a lesser known name. The problem is making bad movies as opposed to good movies. Sony's problem is not that they made secondary character movies. The problem is that they made bad secondary character movies. If James Gunn can start to build this brand new DCU with whichever character, I mean, listen, it's smart that he's leading out with Superman, right? That's smart. Lead off with Superman. We've already got a new Batman movie announced. Great. They've led out with that, but he can absolutely build a solid foundation and a solid reputation amongst the fans with B-level characters if they make the movies good. And that's the key. Winning cures everything. We'll see. All right. What's next?
Henry says, hey, John, did you hear that Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller are coming back for a fourth Meet the Parents film? I'm not joking.
I don't even remember the third one.
I remember the first two.
The second one was Meet the Fockers.
Yeah.
What was the third one? I can't even remember it. Really?
Meet the Parents, Meet the
They're
Fockers.
going back to Meet the Parents?
I'm actually okay with that because I was just thinking earlier, we haven't had comedies like that in so long. When we were going over the best comedies from
What's
the Critics' Choice.
Little Fockers.
Little Fockers. That now I remember that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But when we were going over the best comedies from the Critics' Choice, I'm like, these are good and they're funny, but they're not straight up comedies like those movies were, you know?
Yeah. Oh, it's a confusing choice to me, but okay. All right. Thanks for letting me know. All right, what's next?
Espinoza says the year is coming to an end. I'm pretty sure Dune 2 is your favorite movie of the year and Shogun for TV. But what about in music? What are your guys' favorite album and song of 24?
Don't care.
I care, but I'd have to think about that.
I couldn't tell you which song came out this year. I don't listen. I'm the type of, obviously I like music. I've played in bands my whole life. I make music, all that kind of stuff. But when I'm the type of guy that when I get in my car, I don't normally put on music. I put on podcasts. I listen to podcasts, stuff like that. So I really couldn't tell you, to be honest with you. All right, last question of the day. What's next?
All right. Let's see. We got Amin who says, how would you rank these recent movie musicals? Wicked, In the Heights, La La Land, The Greatest Showman, West Side Story. I'll just keep the list up.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, great.
Yeah.
They're all great. My favorite out of them is Greatest Showman. Then I might say, yeah, I'll go Greatest Showman, West Side Story, Wicked, In the Heights, La La Land.
It's pretty good.
But again, all great. All of those are great. But that's the order I would put them in myself.
There you go.
All right. And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show a part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. I am now off on a journey, nay, a pilgrimage, to the movie theater to see Kraven the Hunter.
Oh, boy.
So excited. Watch for my added theater reaction when I do that. I want to thank you in the room with me, Ray Ora.
See you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
See you guys.
My name's John Campea. Thanks a lot for being here, guys. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.